Hi, this is me. I Get Real. I made a check-in video yesterday, and I didn't post it. Probably because I had to be to work. But yeah, I know I have bad grammar sometimes, and I recognize I just do it on purpose sometimes. A lot of my videos start with this. Like, I told you guys I was doing experience, strength, and hope, and I wanted to change it to hope, strength, and experience, so that I don't get stuck on experience. So, what a lot of my videos, the intention was to do check-in, say, oh, yesterday was Monday, going to work, and if I say I'm not going to work, that would be a shock, but I do work from home also, so I don't know if that would ever be possible. If I was on my deathbed, I'd be like, okay, I gotta do this. I'd be like, probably, wait, I gotta do, I'd be like dead, wait, I gotta do one more thing, I gotta be this billing, okay. I'm gonna go check my mail at my office when I go to work today. I'm gonna ask the guy. He wants me to cover me for something to ask. Oh shoot! All right, I'm gonna ask for a break. Might not happen though. So I can check my mail. Maybe around 8:45. Let's say 8:45. I'll get prepped from 3 to 8. I'll get really prepped so that I can. And then basically it will take me like 15 minutes, but usually don't get a break. And if you think you're like use the bathroom or like get some water, then you like if something needs to be done, you don't have a break. Like you don't really have a break. You're just trying to stay alive and not wet yourself. So a lot of my videos I want to talk about my story that I'm writing, my novel, and I'm always writing short stories and long stories and memoirs. And I'm having probably been about 3 weeks that I've got stuck on the love on this. So it was an interracial couple, and getting stuck on the like what do normal people, I'm just going to use that term loosely, what normal people do to get to know each other, how they have conversations, where do they go out, do they go out to eat. So all this stuff, I've done a lot of like hanging out in groups with a bunch of hippie types in the 90s, and you're having these way out space, universe, spiritual conversations. Maybe not so spiritual back then, but like I think all of that experience that I had in the 90s, particularly the people, the intellectual like trippers from probably 96, 97, 98, and then a couple people that visit us in 99 and 2000. People visit us. We only had one couple visit us in 99 at my house in West Virginia, and then ending up out in the Pacific Northwest. There's a few conversations where you talk about kind of like you get deep into stuff and you're just like, so these guys that were a group of friends that my ex-husband had were the first time, his friends were predominantly, from upper white, middle class, blonde hair, blue-eyed guys that had more money than my ex, and they may not have as much money as my parents, their parents, but my parents are black, so you're not going to be treated equal, separate but unequal. So I ended up finding this group of guys um, at the end of my growing up who could sit around a record player playing a guitar, reading a lot of books, reading a lot of sci-fi, and being just kind of drunks, but like well spoken. And they had mannerisms. We were children from the 70s and from parents who were born in like the 40s, 50s, or a lot of us probably the 40s. We had those mannerisms and politeness and for some reason ability to entertain oneself. I don't know if that's just me and my ex. He was one child, and my brother was 8 years older, so it was like entertaining himself by reading books. But his poor parents from Arkansas, they weren't from Arkansas, but they ended up in Arkansas. They had his and her matching bookshelves, and they were well read, and they had a whole bunch of books. That his mom was doing a lot of the Stephen King, and she would. They weren't like religious or called themselves Christian or whatever. People in that circle had Christmas trees. The other guys' parents were big pastors of big churches and ministries in Michigan, and my ex-husband's mom would black out all of the cuss words and stuff in the books. She would black them all out so that he could read the books, but they would be edited. And they had I saw the books. There was a lot of books. And I always wanted to defend country folk and poor white folk, that the ones in West Virginia, they knew how to live, they knew how to survive in severe poverty and to live off the land and build houses from scratch and build wells and grow, have cattle and horses. And they knew, like, that is more, like, if you put any of us, educated city folk, some of us out to homestead and be like, can you survive for a year, go through harsh winter, go through flooding, go through, drought and have to water your stuff and keep your cows fed, like, would you be able to feed yourself and your children and keep yourselves safe if you had no electric, no running water? Like, so these folks that went in West Virginia, they were homestead. They were like they weren't home, we were trying to homestead, but you're basically you got, snakes, you got rattlesnakes, copperheads, you got all this scary crap. All this black racer, I don't know if they're called black racer. They said that you'd have to climb a pole that a sucker would climb up after you. They said stay away from that. But if you see that, run, basically, because it's going to chase you. You don't get any closer to it. They warned me with some stuff, with some edible plants. They had a bucket well. You could have lived off, power outage, could make fires in the yard and all that. And then he would be a problem, but the guys in Arkansas again built their house from scratch, put in water, electric, plumbing, like water, put in an outhouse, a water container. I don't think buried. I don't remember seeing it. It's probably buried, a big drum, a big huge container, probably a couple 1,000 gallons. The drought weather, you're not going to use the outhouse to the toilets, flushing down all that water before they had the low flow and all that stupid stuff. So that's low flow, freaking 2-3 flushes just to flush one little piece of toilet paper. So annoying, it backs up. Our toilet, I don't think it's low flow. It's like everything in our house is backed up, but they don't maintain it. And then people live in very frugal without getting any government benefits, or at least not any food stamps or energy assistance. People live in frugal, keeping their house clean, having routines. My ex would drink milk, powdered milk, and the stuff that he was like, oh my god, milk and real milk and cereal and ice cream were like, just like, he's like, some of the things your parents don't allow you to have. They're like, become an adult and you're just like, I want it all the time. One way or another, all of us I'm talking about from the late 90s were all, whatever background or poverty or income level, you all survived somehow. You ate, didn't starve to death, and you didn't dehydrate. For my family, I mentioned, there was a lot of abuse and survived being beaten near to death. But anyways, just thinking about these people sitting around a record player playing a guitar along with some records and going out and sitting on a front porch and watching all the hippie people. The 90s hippie is not necessarily hippie, but there's hipster hippie people, raver people, whatever, walking by, and when I lived in a co-op, I lived on the street with other co-ops, and there were some others, so we met some, druggies, stoners, people that perma-tripped out in the front lawn for 2-3 days in a row. There was little rich kids, like just simple kids, chubby kids. There wasn't a lot of blacks. as the places I go are not, there's not, I don't even remember any other black, well, a lot of blacks, um, gays, there's gays, um, long hair people, short hair people, all that stuff. Clean cut people that freaking rip everyone off, become treasurers so they can hoard money and buy drugs or use it for their own rent because they don't have a job. Just volunteer to do treasury so they don't have to pay the rent. And they screwed up mine. They stole my money. There's one thing about me is that if I can't pay rent, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna vacate so that you can find someone that does. I can't stand like not paying my bills and stuff. Sometimes I forget to pay the bills because I reminders at my phone, and I'll be like, oh crap. I don't have things automated because there's not enough money in my possession. So it's like I don't want either worse to pay a day late versus overdrawing their account and having all these fees and stuff. So for me, I would get stuck in not what I just talked about because I'm getting some. I'm watching Sullivan. This guy, what's his name? Sullivan. 1980s camcorder videos. What's his name? Nelson Sullivan. I'm watching, and it's really crazy to hear this guy talk about his life. It's so amazing to me. And I'm like, this is, because I tell my kid, Nelson went to grandma's house. Nelson went to see his aunt and his mom. Nelson went to McDonald's. Nelson went to get gas. Nelson went, and my kid is probably like, you're lame, mom. Like, I don't know what it is about him panning where he is, showing pictures of the pets. Like, I think seeing the cars and the houses and the furniture from the late 80s, it's like if you're in your parents' house and they have nice furniture, it would be 10 or 20 or more years old. So it's like you're seeing almost up to the 90s, the late 80s, but the furniture and the cars and stuff is like 80s, 70s, and you're just like, oh my god. In the early 80s, and you see the old people all, especially in the South, their hair is all done up. They got the thick glasses like my mom and grandma had. It's plastic glasses, and they have button up to the top. The women button up shirts and slacks. That's polyester slacks, no iron slacks. God, that takes me back. And you would think of them going to church on Sunday, and this guy talked about church a lot. And people were not trying to make up lies that he died of AIDS, but he had a heart attack on 4th of July. I think it was '89. He had filmed the day before and was looking at the clock. And it just breaks my heart. I never heard of this guy. And he was with the club kids and Michael, Alec, and a bunch of stuff with RuPaul. And like, how did he get into this crowd? And he documented a part of history that got Kraftwerk in them. I heard that Kraftwerk was starting some stuff in the late 60s, or I look online, they say 70s for the digital electronic dancing music. Then you got the 80s at the hip hop and the rap. There's a Run DMC, it was Aerosmith or whoever. And then you have regular rap. And you have Blondie. You have that kind of like disco. Like I don't really deal with disco very well. I don't know what it is about disco. I can't deal with disco. Like, I couldn't deal with jazz that much either. I can deal with, like, I would prefer classical over jazz, and we would drive, and I would try to listen to music on the radio. And I'd go between classical, Christian. I couldn't stand commercials, so I go from Christian pop music to jazz to classical, and classical starts talking or something. Then I would go to jazz. This is my old car. I had a program, and then we got in on the Catholic channel, and they'd have like their hymnal and inspirational music. And I think the Catholic channel in my town, it comes up on these cordless headphones. You should plug them in your TV. The Catholic channel is really down low on the channels. The jazz like 89.9 or something. I don't know. I haven't looked. And then the Catholic one is like or something. But then the TV starts to come in right here. So you have like this, you'll hear like TV shows. Stuff. Like, wait, what is that? Sounds familiar. Is that a game show? Um, God, I just like, I thought to myself that my daughter would love looking at the cars and the homes and the wooden furniture. And that's back when people did films, movies, media, pictures, magazine pictures, documented, or like camcorder. Back then, I feel like people had magazines in their house and books and shelves with knickknacks on it. And now it's like what people want to see is sterile. But it's like a lot of us, like me, it's like not sterile. It's like too much stuff in a small space, and there's no storage. Like back then in my parents' house, it's like we had a place to have like the basement when they had like all this party stuff, like I don't know, fondue pot type stuff, old 60s, 70s dinner parties. You had the stuff to put on the ends of your corn on the cob. You had your picnic baskets and your coolers and your water jugs and your, the little thing where you push the button and water or juice comes out, or you fill it with water, the cold and jugs. We had all that stuff up. Some of that stuff was about the laundry. And you had the basement and you had the garage. And it's like you could have your living space just be really nice furniture and clean floors. Like these places that we've been living in, they're very, very low income housing. So they're not going to say, oh, we could do like built-in bookshelf here, and like we can do a corner thing here, and we're going to put the windows where they actually can move the bed. Like, no, they don't think that. They're just like, just slap it together the cheapest way you can. And the windows don't match up with the sunlight, and they have the windows, 2 bedrooms and bathrooms facing your neighbor's porch. And the one thing they did was put the bathrooms and the other windows not so that their stair window and their bathroom window is next to each other. But it's not like I would build it this way. But I also wrote a book, Habitat for Humanity, and they said this is the cheapest, simplest way to build a house, period, because we're on a budget. And I respected that as far as the basic structure. This one was built poorly, so I would take any house. I mean, I had my house in Australia. It was built poorly, but it was able to be fixed. But it was built like if I were to build a house right now and didn't measure anything and just start cutting wood and piecing it together. I mean, this freaking house was super old, so they built it fine. Like during storms, sleet, wind, the house still stood the day we sold it. I mean, there's holes and stuff in the wall, but that part of that is water standing, not fixing things, not having like it's when they sell wooden slats that go like this versus just 2x4s with sheetrock or whatever. Anyways, enough about that. So to move on, I just think I don't have to think about my kids like this is lame. Watching this guy was like watching Charles Gross without the vulgar, the intense sex talk or the F word, and this other guy, and only because I'm in New York, it's just like, okay, this is me walking. Like, it reminded me of that a little bit. This is me in an Uber. This is me at the train station. Like, it reminded me of that in a way, except this other guy was just like, this is life, and I have a camera on. And he on camera was this Nelson Sullivan, he was so humble. And, like, just so well-mannered. It was just, like, amazing, like, when I go to the grocery store and I'm working and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to get back to my table, because I had a type sheet and all this. And, like, these people try to run you down in their cars when you're crosswalk. These guys will see you coming with a big, heavy cart, and they'll just cut right in front of you. They'll cut you off at doors, like, jump to get in front of you, let the door slam in your face if it's an open, closed door. No, like I don't know, I was talking about men, women. I read this before that some black women said that blonde women would walk right in front of you. Like you're walking on this side, going this way, they're walking this way, that they'll purposely get in front of black women so that we have to go around them. And I found that to be true. I'm like, are you trying to get in my face? And like, my guinea pigs do that kind of crap where they got to look at each other and start humping each other and just be like, no, I'm dominant over you. And like, oh yeah, I'm just like, I'm just trying to either go to the grocery store for my kid so I can get home and feed my kids before they have to go to school or work, or I'm trying to work. And when I have a new respect, and I hated this for pizza drivers driving like maniacs, or people at work where you had to clock in. Like we had the times, the old jobs where you had a time clock, and other ones you had to punch in the clock or whatever. But I hated people being rushing through employer, like people with carts trying to run you off in the aisle, run you off to the side of a shelf or something. But I'm like, dang, those carts are hard to maneuver, and the one that I have is like 600 pounds. It's like really hard to stop the people caught in front of you. It's really hard to start up. You got to use like put your whole body weight into it, and then it's hard to stop it if somebody runs in front of you, and you got to like not try to like it would probably do some major damage if you run into some old lady or something that would like break their back or something. Like, so you just like, I've sprained my body stopping it because people rush. So I had new respect for people. I just hate when there's like two employees, young men, that are like right on your heel and you're in a store and you're like, well, maybe I have to get to the time clock. It's really annoying. It's like, just go freaking around. And sometimes you like let people in because like as a vendor, it's like you want courtesy to the customers, you let people in, but then nobody lets you get across the aisle after you do that, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm standing here for 5 minutes. Like, if you have time clock that says I'm gonna be back at 3:30 and you're standing there for 3:40, 3:35, like you're gonna be in trouble. Like, I have a new respect for what you have to punch in and get back to your station, and you're having a 10-minute break. Which in the store that I'm in, there's no deli area. There's like 2 benches in the store. I almost sat on the floor the other day, but I would go like right from the door where people push carts in, because I had to spend 5 minutes to get out of the building, go up the stairs to my car, and 5 minutes to get back. That's the whole 10-minute break. So you could go there. Like, if I had a water bottle or something to put in the car, I could be like, oh, I'm gonna go put that in the car and walk right back just to get a walk. But if you're like about to pass out and you need to eat something, you need to sit for 10 minutes. I don't understand how employers, when they give you a 10-minute break, if you leave your station, clock out, or whatever you have to do, go to the bathroom, and then by the time you come out of the bathroom station, there's a line, and then you go wash your hands, and you look at your clock, and you're like, dude, it's gonna take me 2 minutes to get back to the time punch. Or like, they should at least make it 15 minutes. Like, I think it's crazy, because by the time you punch off the clock, I mean, if you sat by the clock, that happened in my other job. Basically, you have your 10-minute break, and we had our boss's office used to have food and water, and the bathroom was right there. But sometimes there was a line. I literally, I think I had to leave and go to a different building. Use the bathroom. Like, my break is over, and I've been waiting in line for 20 minutes for one bathroom stall. And it's like, then they're like, no, you can't take your break close to where your work is. You got to go outside or to the lunchroom place. And you're like, dude, by the time I clock in there, go to my locker, grab my stuff, because I used to be able to keep your food in the place, and then step outside. And it's basically like you eat 3 grapes, you are on the way outside, you look back, oh, it's time to be back at work in 75 seconds, so then you turn around, put yourself back in your locker, and run back. Like, you don't have time to actually, like I said, especially if you wait in line for the bathroom and all that stuff, you're like, oh my god, I don't want to get in trouble. So you just take it out on your own body. And then people are like, oh, we're all fairly healthy, we're all fairly healthy. It's like, oh, I have all this medicine, oh my god, I forgot to give medicine, oh my god. I gotta go to the pharmacy for that. I guess that's their situation. Who knows what's going on. But volunteering in a hospital and doing birth training in a hospital, several hospitals in the metro area, all those floors full of people that are sick, men, women, children, chronically ill, and just so many complications during pregnancy, like general health and then pregnancy. And everyone says, oh yeah, if I had a car accident, then I probably should go to the hospital. Like, people, I hate that. Like, I think a lot of people are telling me, someone tried to say, a 3 week fast. It wasn't a fast, it was a cut out meat. And like, these people are like, oh, we need protein, we're gonna eat eggs and tuna fish or egg. I was like, I'm gonna do this with my kids. I'm gonna eat plant based protein, whole foods, whole grain rice. We were already eating like this unbleached sugar, unbleached flour. Like, I don't eat that. Like popcorn, rice cakes, whole grain rice cakes with salt, like all this stuff. We were mostly already doing, but all we did was like cut out meat. But I said my kids are gonna do this fast. If they say, Mom, I want some fried chicken, I'm gonna get them chicken. If they say I want a hamburger, I make a hamburger. I am an adult and I can do it without. I said you're gonna eat eggs, boiled eggs, scrambled eggs with cheese, and you're gonna have as much tuna fish as you want, tuna fish sandwich or whatever, canned fish. If you're still in a hurry, I pray to God. God, I can't afford to do this Daniel's fast because we're gonna buy whole grain stuff and snacks, and they were getting free lunch at school. And I remember we got a letter saying we're gonna give you a certain amount of food stamps. I was like within 25, praise Jesus, like right. I was like, nope, I'm going straight to the store now. We're gonna prep. So basically, it was prayer fast, spiritual thing, and commitment. And this lady who was a nurse, who was really, really obese and really sickly and could hardly walk, and her face looked like death. Like, it was scary. Like, you don't look healthy. You don't look like you've been healthy for a long time. She said that I was killing my kids because they didn't eat meat for 3 weeks. And I was like, we were already, meat is expensive, and we were like homeless and stuff. You're going to eat mac and cheese, fake, fake cheese. You're going to eat freaking canned tuna and, potatoes, potato flakes, and like, shelf stable milk that they give you from the food pantry. You're not really able to afford to go buy steaks or hamburgers. Hamburgers are expensive. Like, even all that pork that used to be cheap in the olden days, hot dogs, like all that stuff, bologna used to be kind of cheap food. It's not cheap. We went years without having any food, not even being able to buy a bag of potatoes for 60 cents. So when they are eating, and I gave them enough snacks to go all day at school and after school. If they had a birthday party, they'd have a cookie or whatever, like whole grain. They had after school snack, whole grain, baked, not fried, like say corn chips, corn puffs, baked, not fried, all this stuff with no preservatives, no MSG, no food coloring. Like, I would do that, and we were trying to do that anyway. But these fasts really synchronized my like reading labels and doing that. And this is stuff that I'm talking about from 10 years ago. This idiot, that's Christian, these people that would go on mission trips. I was like, have you not been to a place like Hindu or somewhere where there's either there's no food and people are pretty much eating dirt, salt, soup, or there's places where they don't eat meat, they're vegetarian, they're eating beans and rice, and they're eating vegetarian, maybe there's cheese and yogurts and stuff like that for the protein. Like, do you not realize, like I don't have to sit down. Like, people are like, Meatless Monday, I'm so cool, Meatless Monday. I was like, who cares? Like, good for you. But it's like, we weren't doing stuff because it's like, oh, trendy or to be healthy. It's like, we were doing meatless like almost like 6 out of 7 days a week because we just didn't have money. We were basically eating popcorn with um, apple slices, when we were at Cambridge Court, we were eating like popcorn all the time, and then the kids would do what they could for school lunch, but they didn't like it. And I would eat it, and one time I got a really bad rash and a headache at the one school, and I went to my son's school and ate, to buy lunch as an adult, and I ate there one time, and I got the worst headache from the food, and I was like, oh my god, and the kids stopped eating it. They were like, oh crap. After that time I paid for the money, they were eating school lunch, and then they didn't for 3 weeks. The daycare worker, as soon as the 3 weeks is up, she gave them all these Doritos and crap. Like, she would write on the calendar when my kids could eat crap. I was like, I'm gonna keep sending a snack in their bag. Like, dude, like they're so peaceful. Like, they're almost like zombified because they didn't have chemicals, preservatives. They didn't have sugar, like bleached sugar. They were just like, I remember walking in one day and my kids were laying on the floor like this, watching their classroom after school daycare, and kids were throwing wood, those big wooden blocks. They were throwing them at each other across the room and fighting, and tugging on stuff and yelling and going crazy. And my kids were just like this, both of them. In a couple of days, somebody gave my son a cupcake or something, bleached everything, food coloring. And my kid, like after like going several days without any of this happened twice with my son. One was MSG and one was just straight up sugar with food coloring. His eyes were like going like in two different directions, like tweaking out. Like it was really pronounced, the effect of this food. And I was like, dude, like I got from these fasts and from like, ooh, somebody had a birthday party today, didn't they? Yeah, such and such. And it was like another day, somebody gave me a bag of Doritos or something, and my kid was just like, it's like, I remember some of those days. I'm like, I live in a ranch. How hard would it be to do a pattern room? Like, not for you guys. But I seriously was trying to design it, and I was like, you could just say it's a playroom, give me Velcro suit, and they could just like stick themselves to the wall, and be like crawl off and like stick themselves to the ceiling and be like, look at me, like I'm a fly on the wall. It's like I had thought about it so many times because, and slowly the kids would just give them this junk, or the adults would give them this junk, and my kids would go mad, but they needed to eat. So when you're in poverty, you don't want to say no, your kid can't eat the cupcake or cake. Some kids have peanut allergy or whatever, they have their little bag of cookies on the counter, so whenever there was a thing, the teacher would grab. It's like, oh, such and such has a peanut allergy, he's not allowed to eat anything, even if it's like sesame donuts, such and such. Like, no chance, don't take a chance. So trying to do that a little bit, but it was expensive, and you don't know if someone's going to get into that. But slowly my kids were like rejecting that type of food and saying that it was making them sick because they went 3 weeks super pure. But then it was hard being in severe poverty, and we were homeless during most of these years. We're considered homeless. We had shelters, stuff, but we were living in temporary housing. And my kids would literally reject the food. So I had to do a whole bunch of praying. I went into a whole bunch of debt to spend three. So if you're at home and you have to have 3 weeks off, Christmas break, 1 week off, you could make rice. I was gonna say beans, but they're not. You could make rice, chicken, potato. I didn't do a lot of beef. It was expensive. Sometimes you buy a steak. I didn't do that till later, and we split it 3 ways or something. I didn't do that too much because it's too expensive. We used to $5 sale. This is basically just chicken. We used to eat fish back then. It was basically chicken and fish. I didn't buy any pork. This was pepperoni that came later. And we ended up being able to do that when you had a week off. But then when you're going back to school and you're commuting about 5 hours a day and going to church too many excessive times a week when you're in pre-med and med school, we needed snacks. So I got allergic to popcorn, or I found out I was allergic to corn, and I was eating a lot of popcorn, so I pushed my body overboard with the symptoms. I had anaphylactic shock the last time I ate corn. I started eating popcorn on purpose. I'm sure it snuck into my diet before because I've had some serious issues, but I didn't go to the hospital or anything, but I was like, oh snap, I cannot eat at restaurants. Like, I hated that. Like, you could ask to read a label, like, oh, can you it's like, just get us out, no dressing, no nothing. But then again, you don't know, they put preservatives and crap. Anyway, so I'm in a lot of debt because I'd go to back then Wild Oats, Ordinary Seasons, and come home with these baked and these, meats, organic or non-organic, freaking 7 pieces of chicken or turkey for like $8, or like back then it would be like $5. It's too much money. Now the regular crap is like $5. It's like, unless you get those reconstituted little packs of the budding, but that budding is not much meat either. It actually is more per pound. Um, you can spend your 88 cents, but it's more per pound. Anyways, you go on from there to just having kids that are bigger than me, like taller than me, having high metabolism, and having to just fill in the gaps because they end up with small stomachs. And a couple times we would get a discount on a holiday where they had the free turkey or something. And we would throw some mashed potatoes and a box of mac and cheese, nothing major. And you get some rolls or something, and maybe some cookies for dessert. And that type of meal, I'd make a green bean casserole. That type of meal, it was no yams, there was no Waldorf salad, there was no mincemeat pie, there was no, what else am I? Mashed potatoes with homemade gravy, mac and cheese, turkey and or ham, rolls, cranberry sauce. I said green bean casserole, have a big old plate and have all this stuff. And I eat, and then I eat seconds, and I eat a little turkey, and I get some pie, and then I just sleep on the kitchen table, like, vegged out, dining room table. If I try to get my kids a potluck or something, they'll be like, get something to eat when I'm hungry. Like, dude, at least get a plate and pretend to eat it so I can take it home because you're going to be hungry at home. And it was really hard to turn down food when you're in poverty. You can't afford food. You try to stand in line at the food bank. Certain zip codes. It's harder out here than it was on the east side. The east side is like show up at all these places. And they're not going to put your name in a computer and check your ID and piece of mail and every social security for every person. Some of them actually do on the east side, but they'd say we're open these many days, come. And the one out here, it's like you could only go to one location. Only go to one location, and you can go less than, like, 10 times a year, so less than once a month. And they're always closed when I don't have to be, when I'm not at work. So when I'm at work, they're open. But I got a lot of bugs. In the olden days, brain moss and bugs and creepy stuff, rotten meat, rotten dairy, rotten milk, rotten yogurt. I got a bunch. I can't even eat yogurt, like lactose intolerant. Like, let somebody else eat it. So other people are gonna be living in the street, living in an apartment, no food, a bunch of people living in there. Let them eat the yogurt, rotten meat, and my kids won't eat it. And so I have to eat all this junk, so I wouldn't feel wasteful, and I got obese. I got obese eating out of food boxes, knowing. And Wick told me I was too poor to eat healthy. Knowing for me that I needed to be able to. I knew I had food allergies, and I knew I was having rashes and sore throats and all these chronic conditions for years, for decades, to tell you the truth. And I knew from the book I read from the 80s, It's Not Your Fault You're Fat, that I had food allergies and I had weight gain and bloating from. I had like severe sores on my body. I had um, seriously dripping hemorrhoids, like all of this, like, oh my god, I thought my whole guts was gonna leak out, and sores and stuff. People were testing me, like, oh my god, we think you have MRSA. Like, I didn't, but they freaked because it was unexplainable sores. They thought I had STDs. I was like, dude, I was like, I've been celibate. I was like, I have no partner, and there's no one that desire to have be partners with me for decades. Like, I'm not. I was like, unless something hid itself for 20 years in my body, then I don't have any STDs, or at least 5, 10, 15 years. I was like, I don't have any STDs. And that would be scary. That means someone would have date rape, drug me, because I wouldn't have remembered. Um, and I'm smart enough before I was a licensed physician, before or not, to know that most acute diseases, not like viruses, they can usually have symptoms early on. There are some cases where people have hidden symptoms. There's certain STDs in males wouldn't know that they had until the female partner gets affected, and because it's not visible or whatever, it's not visible sores or whatever. Anyways, like HPV and all that. Anyways, sometimes there's not visible sores, depending on which virus. Whatever. Anyways, syphilis can be hidden. Anyways, yeah, I did a lot of praying. I had a lot, like right now, I feel so sick, guys. I did a lot of praying. I did a lot of changes. Everyone telling me you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. And even the people that, the relatives that were on the same boat as me for diet and health and fitness still tell me I can't. You're too fat. Oh, you take after your mom. So they're fat. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? And my weight was ballooning up. That's all I could hear is you're fat, you're fat, you're fat. As soon as I stopped talking to this person, my weight went to normal. And my weight went to normal when I got laid off a really toxic job. I didn't change diet or exercise. And I was so impoverished, I was hardly eating anyway. And people kept saying, the doctors were like, the way you eat, you should not be this weight. But when you have someone tell you how fat you are, how they hate you, and all the stress, and the cortisol levels, and not being able to sleep because of the stress, having nightmares, being physically assaulted at work, and that person getting an award and being given a raise, and now that's how they think of me, is that I should be harmed, then you end up gaining weight, not because, the female pastor at my church, I want to give her a finger. I had to say, God, please forgive me for saying that. Please forgive these people. They did nothing. They're like, you're fat because these other leaders would say, you're fat because you eat 5 almonds a day and a banana. Like all day. That's it. Like in a salad with no dressing and no salt. I was like, okay, I guess I am because that's all I'm eating and I'm fat. And they'd be like, yeah, you're eating all the time. I was like, I leave my house at 7:15. I don't get home until 10:30 at night. I bring an orange to eat on Wednesday night church. And I eat half of it, maybe all of it. One orange, that's not even like 100 calories. Like, she's like, every time I see you eating, you're always eating an orange. I was like, that's my freaking dinner, dude. Like, I better get my kids a snack, so like make them a sandwich for the car, and I would eat my orange during church because the smell was relaxing. I had allergy to perfume. All the people at church had their cosmetics with all their fake perfumes and their hair products. I think I just surrounded myself with the scent of orange so that I wouldn't have to smell it. I still had to smell these people, but try to mind over matter myself to be protected. But yeah, it was. She's like, you're fat because you eat an orange every Wednesday, and that she sees me everywhere. It's like, yeah, because I've been gone from home at 7:30 and I didn't eat. And the lady that was 90 pounds always came in with McDonald's. And her husband was like almost 300 pounds. And I'm like, they're fat because they eat McDonald's. Like, and so I left that church. I lost a bunch of weight. Got laid off that job. I lost even more weight. And then I stopped talking to my toxic relatives. And that's when I really lost a lot of weight. But a lot of that is because of the car accident. I lost a lot of muscle mass. I was disappointed because I couldn't move. And I used to exercise every day. And but I'm so mad because I went to eat with that lady before. It was 120 something pounds, taller, like 3-4 inches taller than me. She would pig out, like, is she bulimic or something? Like, she would pig out, and then she would drink like pots of coffee and go walking. But I think that she must have been on psych meds or something. She was like so relaxed that she didn't gain weight. Like, she didn't gain that stress cortisol weight, that belly fat that people get. Like I get. I'm really tired. I gotta go watch my videos right now. I'm gonna read my book. But basically, that's um, part of my health care is one of the teachers at school who's been around for a year said, we are catering to rich white people. And he would try to flunk all the black students and foreigners. And this clinic was a discount clinic, student clinic rate. I was like, the actual rich people are going out and having private 1 and 2 hour spa type medical visits, paying $200-300 out of pocket. Like, these people are paying $35 a visit or getting free visits at community clinics. Like, what is your definition of rich? But it's like that genre, that stereotype, educated old white people that want, you know, this hipster, trendy type of medicine, and I hated that because I went as a student. I was supposed to have a student plan, student discount, insurance, and I had like a 10-minute visit where they wrote a letter, which I didn't even really need, and they charged me $120. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, I don't think I ever went back after that to 430. I was like, this is really, like, it was, I know the billing was really wrong. Like, they definitely overcharged me. Like, you just lost a patient that I'd been going since 2004. I was like, that is the straw that kind of back. Like, you guys, they charged me for visits when I had a car accident and I gave them all the information. Like, they're really, like, why do those same people still work there? Like, they're really bad. And they're really bad. They just kiss some butt. People at the top. I just like to do my work and fix things, and people don't like that. Sometimes if they don't know what they're doing, they feel like inferior. I don't know if this is an actual rock. I think it is. Sometimes I have a little piece of glass that looks like a real rock. Anyways, I did have that stereotypical patient load a lot, and not really, but you had probably 50% of what I just spoke. And then me as a patient since 2004, I was living in a homeless shelter, and I had previously lived in a tent with 2 babies, and I previously lived in a car in a tent, Jeep in a tent, going back and forth across the country. I ended up being able to follow guidelines of naturopathic medicine for me and my kids' health by having an income of zero, um, or up to $400 a month, which also meant that pretty much 100%, 99.9% meant to rent. You base your rent on any of your income, so you get all of the income and then the savings, mandatory savings, so that you can do the down payment or the first last month rent, security deposit at the next place, because you're temporary housing, so you keep having to pay those fees whenever you move frequently. So we had a mandatory savings account. We had to prove that we were putting money into their bank, kind of like an escrow, because they had to sign off when we moved out. They had to sign off so I can get my money back. So with allergies, skin allergies, I had to deal with using shampoos and soaps. People would drop off like big baskets full of hotel soaps, and I was like, what? Who the heck is going to all these hotels? I think, like I never had gone to a hotel in like in several years. Like since when I was homeless, I didn't go once in a while. We thought we were gonna move to a town and live somewhere, have access to a shower once in a while. But I never remember. Anyways, so I had to find certain free stuff, go to food pantry, this and this and this, and do this stuff cheap with the allergies and the skin conditions, sensitivity to chemicals. I didn't own a washcloth, I didn't own a hot pad, I didn't have an oven. Anyway, you're homeless, you don't have much, or you're in shelters, you have like a room, you have a room, a bed, and some sheets, and I would borrow them. And I was so poor. I was going to church. I wouldn't have been able to even, if I had a kids event, to have anybody say, oh my god, you owe $6 for your Northwest natural gas summer rate. Oh, you're going to ask the pastor for help. Like, can I take the bottles after a kids camp one day? No. Like all the money I gave, every penny, that wasn't rent. My loan money, I'm like, you're stupid. You should ask for a refund. Like, they lied to me. You know, shady look on their face. They should have lied to me about giving my loan money to the offering plate, and I'm kicking myself because I'm in debt and I pay interest on that. All these people buy property with the money and cars for the kids and all that stuff, but I had, anyways, I thought about that last night. I'm like, I wonder if they pick through the garbage and kids throw away their bottles after vacation Bible school or something. They would like, no. Like, oh well, I have my electricity, my my Snapchat cut off because I can't pay $6. Um, like it was. Anyways, I had to do stuff for, cheap, and I had to be criticized. Still criticized. Now, I always say to you guys, basically, that point of the last part of my conversation was I learned to do stuff cheap or free, and I wasn't like a beggar. But people in this country have so much excess furniture, excess clothing, excess shoes, excess shampoos from hotels, and they're just like, oh, let's give it to women's shelter, makeup, all this stuff. Well, you gotta find what works. And when I had Christmas, I said, okay, I don't have it. I don't have a dish towel. I don't have any sponges or rags to clean the dishes. I don't have any soap. I spent that money that I got from one of my mandatory on like shampoo and soap. That one called me allergic reaction. And we spent the money like in a week. I was like, oh crap! I spent like $800 on like toilet paper, paper towels, which we had never had. Like buying like maybe underwear is freaking expensive. Like we just bought like the basic necessities, and that money was gone a week because we were doing without. And I mean, I had underwear I got from a free pile, used underpants and bras from a free pile, stuff from 1960 or something weird granny stuff, and you're just like, someone probably died and donated all this crap, and then you gotta like try to pay to wash stuff. And then the one shelter we didn't have to pay, but all the other ones we had to pay to wash it. And then one had cockroaches in the washer and dryer, so I had to go. And then the next one had a bunch of, all the kids had hair lice. I was going down by the kids' school to do all the laundry. So it's like the good out. It's like the pink cloud. It's like, it was such a struggle breaking down the car all the time. Going to the store every single time, adding it up in my head or with the calculator. And then when I say $32.01, it's exactly how much money I have. I get up there to like $46 and something. Like, places price stuff wrong. They do put signs. Walmart has been notorious for us lately. It's like $3.99, and you get to the car, you see you got charged $9.99. You're like, oh crap. And you're like, should I go back in and stand in line for half an hour? No. Dang it. And try to pay attention next time. I should probably do self-checkout because I'll catch it. And then what you would have to do is go leave your spot, go back in the back, find somebody to call and be like, this is price, or was it in the wrong spot? I said, time is money, let's go. This is a new concept for me, by the way. I hate it because it seems illegal and devious, deceitful and devious. But yeah, I get a lot of criticism when I found out how to do stuff cheap and free. Now the point I was saying, I'm gonna post this video is checking kind of about health and changes, and I'm not immune. I got in that car accident. I was gonna die. I thought my neck was gonna break, my back, and it still feels like it feels like it literally that I had been really close to death. Like I don't want to talk about it right now, but if I could drink tap water and use freaking Suave shampoo and freaking eat beans and rice every day, I would do like for bulk. I would get like that, or have somebody visit Costco with me and just get a year supply of freaking lentils or something. I would do that every day. My house would smell like beans and rice, and I would put some soup and get like one little piece of cheap meat and put it in there. If I could do that, my body rejects that. I was sick all the time, and when I talked about people having raw food, someone thought I was eating raw almond. I go, no, almonds. And I was like, people think, someone's like, oh, do you not cook your bread when you not toast your bread because you're raw food? She's like, do you realize that bread from the store is actually already baked? Like, in my mind, I'm just like, I mean, I ask some weird questions sometimes, or I see things backwards, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like an idiot. I'm not saying that, but it's like, I don't think people actually understand that concept of raw food, and they also are going to put it in a category of wealthy, white, hippie person who owns property and wears Birkenstocks with wool socks, or what are those wool ones that aren't 100% wool? That's what some of the white teachers, and they have the beards and the glasses. and they're driving some kind of electric car or some van or some motorcycle or some kind of like hipster mobile, and you're just like, just because I don't look like that doesn't mean that I can't do something with my diet. Like, like if you look in their cabinet, like, because you have first cold press olive oil in your cupboard, just because you think that I'm more poor than you, that I shouldn't have first press olive oil. It's like, my blood lab tests are good. Like, how much is it going to cost me? My Medicaid, like, when I had to pay nothing for, the pay stuff out of pocket, like, it would cost me more to have to go to the doctor all the time and the dentist and get all this work done than it would just eat the foods my body likes. And people don't know, like, I could have come from a trust fund or something. Like, I don't. But people make assumptions because I'm black and because I say I don't have money for stuff. It's like, maybe it's because I'm in debt and I need to pay the money towards the debt. Maybe it's because I need to save up to have the timing belt fixed on the car. Maybe it's because I'm a single mom and living in the city. You need 2 adults with 2 jobs, 2 more than minimum wage jobs just to pay the rent. So people have all kind of roommates and all kind of housing stuff around here and all kind of jobs. I'm going to make the next video after I watch this guy, Rusty 78609. I met someone the other day and I talked to them, and they talked a little bit about not being able to work a 9 to 5. And my daughter told me, you're not able to work 9 to 5. And I tried. It was more like a 1 to 8 or something. Some days it was 9 to 5, but it was like, and I was carrying the bulk of the work, so other workers were on coffee break before they watched like 7 out of 8 hours of their day and getting paid twice as much as me and stuff. But this really happened. And I end up feeling like I can't sit in traffic at 8:45 saying, oh my god, I'm going to be late for work. I can't deal with that stress. That's part of my problem. Color people time, being late, being untardy because I had to get up. Oh my god, I forgot to put my clothes in the dryer. Oh my god, I'm supposed to leave in 30 minutes, but I'm not going to go to leave for 20 because I at least have to dry it halfway. Oh my god, the kids are hungry, the animals are out of water. Oh my god, the toilet's backed up again. Oh my god, the kitchen sink, everything fell over. Like, I had everything. I was on time for work one day and everything fell out of the fridge, out of the door. It broke, and it, like, last week, like, it temporarily broke. Like, everything fell out on the floor. And you're like, oh my god, I'm driving on E. Like, it's more of doing this 7 days a week. It's not like these people like, oh, I have Saturday, Sunday off. I'm going to get gas the car, wash the car, clean the house, organize my fridge, clean the animal cage, make sandwiches for the next week, and soup and salad for everyone to nibble on. When you don't have days off, you can't catch up. And all these white people would be like, why don't you just make all your meals Sunday night? And why don't you just do this? And I was like, dude, you have your husband working at Intel making $8,000 a month. Like, I don't have the same things as you. I don't have the same, the plantain snacks and all this stuff that I used to buy on loan money. Like, I can't buy that without loans. And now I'm paying off the loans. And I had bought $3 worth of plantain snacks, and it's now costing me $3,000 for that same bag because I got to pay back all that interest. So I had to learn to do things cheaply. I had to learn to do things creatively, and in medical school, my medical school, which the stuff you don't get tested on about the white males in their 50s, like, how much vitamin D do people need? How much vitamin B12 do people need? How much iron do people need? There's like a 21-year-old, 21 to 24-year-old white male students that were like, sign up for this test or this study, and then your RDAs and or whatever it's called, recommended daily amount allowance or amount recommended daily, your lab test, your anemia. Oh my god, you're so anemic. Oh, I'm a menstruating female, has heavy menses, and I don't eat meat and I don't take supplements. Like, before I used to eat tons of meat, I was probably more anemic then than I am now because my body was not processing anything well. It was not digesting, and I was inflamed and stressed out with the abuse, and my body was being exposed to things that I shouldn't have been eating, which caused bloating, and it slows down, putrefies your guts so that your guts are coated, which is absorbing nutrients. Your gut coated feces stuck to it, and you can't absorb anything. You try to dye your hair, and it won't dye. It won't hold the colors like that. It's like you could try. You could use spend $1 million on hair dye, but you got to make it porous enough for it to accept the dye, right? Or whatever. Like, say you like cover your hair with Vaseline or something, it's like you can't penetrate. So you're not going to penetrate your nutrients no matter how many supplements or whatever. So I was probably worse back then, I don't know. I hadn't physically taken out the paperwork. I wasn't going to do any lab tests now for my own research because I can't afford. No doctors will see me. And that's the more I got to be a doctor. You're your own doctor, do it yourself. I was like, why is my insurance paying you $200 right now for you to tell me to do it myself? And all you're going to do is see me, tell me I'm fat, and tell me to find my own medicine. They'd be like, find it yourself. It'd be cheaper. Get it your provider. Just give me your NPI number and buy it yourself. I was like, this. You should prescribe it so my insurance can pay, and you actually like do the work. Like you make the phone call and order the device, or you order the medicine. Like lazy bum. But I don't go to people. I would go to these people just to get help, but they won't even make appointments. Like, you're so smarty, black lady doctor. You think you're so good. You think you're so uppity. And so I end up having to do stuff primitively, and so I applied to 9 to 5 jobs, and at the time my kids were doing homeschool, I think, and our web school, so I would have been able to do it, but I was in that car accident. It took me 2 to 3 hours to get out of bed because my body was completely numb, spinal damage, my legs were numb, and I'm like, I had to use the bathroom for 2 hours. That's when I started putting everything next to the bed, the computer, books, and stuff. I used to not do that. I used to have to pee like a racehorse. So, my sensation in my general region has really decreased. And I stopped drinking as much water back then because I couldn't get up to use the bathroom. I think I was really dehydrated right after the accident for like 1.5 years or 2 years. But yeah, I get criticized all the time, people. And this lady, I had to be careful because I felt like she was a racist and she made fun of my small body weight when she was talking about loud people being skinny and all this. She's like, oh, I just don't want to do 9 to 5. I'm a bartender. I'm this. I'm that. I do these odd jobs, and I'm just like, I know I would guess that I was a physician, and even if I tell them that, like, people say you're not a real doctor, I was like, you want to bet? Look me up online. Look up my codes for the U.S. Federal government, like, and I'm not going to argue with people. But people look at me like, you must be stupid. And I was thinking of some of these people, like, this lady's making snacks at the grocery store. She must be stupid. Like, I was like, dude, I know you're a stay-at-home mom. Your husband's working. You're making 120 plus a year. Living in a big house in Lake Oswego, and you're pushing this kid around in a car while you're on your Facebook page, and you're just like, well, I'm smart because I have to go and work and keep myself alive. There's nobody else doing it for me. And you're being pampered. I mean, good for you. I've never experienced that, so I don't know what it's like. Sometimes I think women should be able to have opportunity to do that if they want, but those are the people that our media calls attractive, and they can be well taken care of, and they can be dumb as a doorknob and earn $35 an hour just sitting at a desk doing nothing but paying on Facebook all day. And I know people like that with 3 months paid vacation, paid time off, maternity leave, paternity leave, sick pay, all these incentives, bonuses. And they're not lifting fingers. A lot of these just have a lot of volunteers, prestigious. You got to see yourself in the door. I applied a lot of jobs in the same places. Even as a janitor, I never got any job. Like, I applied as a healthcare professional. I applied everything else. Became a volunteer and watched you guys while all the volunteers took care of the patients and took care of paperwork, took care of restocking supplies and pushing people out to parking lot. I know that might not be your job criteria, but them doing a lot of the Facebook, look at my nightingales, look at my puppy. Please, guys, I'm not the healthiest person. I me and my kids struggled. My kids were underweight. I was obese, eating foods that I was allergic to, and eating out of food banks. When you're eating out of food bank, you're not getting abundance of food. You're not obese because you're overeating. When you can't afford food and you're starving, and after you've been homeless and literally starving, like literally nothing to eat for weeks, your metabolism is tanked. And these fools need to realize, like, if I ate one cookie at a meeting or at a church banquet, like, it pretty much, because of my body thinking it's starving from all those years of severe poverty, your body hoards all those calories, especially if you have intolerances and you can't process and digest it. So I'm the type of person who could look at a cake and gain 5 pounds and be like, really? And I actually did better eating more. When I ate more with the loan money, my weight went down. Started going down big time. I ate more and I ate gluten-free, corn-free, and more produce. I was able to exercise on the Wii because I couldn't afford to exercise anywhere else. My weight went down. Um, when I ate more, and when I ate less, my weight went up. And these fools try to tell me I'm obese because I overeat. This pastor, this church told me, his wife already criticized me. The pastor says, "Oh, you probably eat when you're stressed out, like I do, and you're probably overeating. Like, oh, I know you're type, you're an addict, you're food addict, aren't you?" And I was just like, I'm doing martial arts 3 days a week, and I'm climbing to top 6th floor of the parking structure, and I've never taken the elevator at school, and I was probably eating like 600 to 800 calories a day just because that's all I could afford was the popcorn with the butter and the olive oil on it. That was my primary diet, with one banana and a handful of either almonds or dark chocolate colored almonds. Like, I had that, and then Wednesday night I would take the orange, and then we would split a can of sardines a couple times a week. We would just have a little can of sardines. I'd have 1 or 3 forks, and we'd pass around the car, and that was how me and my kids survived, kept from starving to death. And then we would add some apples, and if my son liked grapes, we would add grapes, bananas, apples, and then a little bit of lettuce, romaine lettuce. Um, but that was really buying with loan money. And we weren't occasionally on 4th of July we go out to get fried chicken from Popeyes, but that was once a year, or we get chicken from Albertsons. That was once a year. We had a picnic, or we'd be out late at the fireworks, waiting in line to get back home, waiting in line to get out of the parking lot, so we would go to Popeyes. But that was the extent of, like, I can remember everything. So I remember exactly how I eat, and the occasional boiled egg I would take because I'd be at school full time. I would occasionally take a boiled egg or a scrambled egg or something. But I'm not allergic to eggs, but I would take it once in a while just because I was so hungry and I was working out. But during those times, my weight was ballooning up to 23. Exercising more than 3 times a week because I also would get invited to parties, go swimming at the lake or the river, 2 rivers, Willamette and the Sandy River, go hiking. Like, I would get out all the time, go to the Audubon Society, go hiking with the kids. Like, I was getting out of law, taking walks up and down the street, and such an east side, parking downtown, where you had to walk several blocks to get to where you're going up and down the stairs, like, with my backpack. So I was eating very little, and I was super active, and I still ballooned up. And I think it was a lot of the stress of the abusive people. Peace. Sometimes I wish I would look at chubby people, and I'd be like, seeing them pick out on donuts, and I'd be like, God, I wish that I got fat from obesity. That sounds like, yep, I would raise my endorphins better than this feeling like I'm starving all the time. But I know how my body works, and I know how starvation works when you hoard any calories because your metabolism is screwed up. Like, I totally understand it from a biochemistry point of view, and the cortisol levels being high, and even not sleeping at night when I go to weight loss groups. If I was woke up 1 or 2 nights in a row, my weight would go up a pound or so. No change in diet, no change in salt intake. I noticed not sleeping the full night caused me to gain weight and not to be able to use the restroom. Like, just all these different things. Peace, guys.